Hi everybody, it's Terry Ryder from Hotspotting. One of the great ironies of real estate issues is that every time a government body makes a decision or takes a measure which they say is designed to strike a blow for housing affordability, they actually make housing affordability a lot worse. And they've been doing it for a lot of years, and it's the prime reason why we have a housing affordability problem in Australia. The problem is not negative gearing, it's not foreign investors, it's not all the usual suspects that are talked about by politicians and others. It's the politicians themselves. It's the way that they milk the housing industry at all levels of government for cash, for revenue. That adds to the cost base of creating dwellings in this country, and that's why primarily we have an affordability problem, working in conjunction with a zoning system that refuses to allow density in our existing suburbs, which means that the new development is forced out to the fringes where there's no infrastructure. And how do we fund the infrastructure? We slug the development industry, we slug the builders and the developers with infrastructure fees and charges and taxes, as well as all the delays and the bureaucracy that adds to the cost of the product they're creating. And it's the end user, the first home buyer primarily, who pays for it. So there's an article out last week that speaks to this issue, and it relates in this instance to Newcastle, but it's a national issue. In fact, Newcastle City Council plans to become part of a state government scheme which allows them to create affordable housing by imposing a tax on the building and development industry. A number of councils apparently within the Sydney metropolitan area are part of the scheme. They allegedly fund cheaper housing by imposing extra taxes on the people who create housing. And of course, that just makes the cost of new housing more expensive. So they're actually achieving the opposite to what they claim to be. It's a revenue raising scheme, but they always couch it in terms that they're actually doing it to improve affordability, when in actual fact they're doing the worst. And the Housing Industry Association has spoken out against this particular scheme. It's called State Environment Planning Policy number 70. And they say the proposal to introduce that policy in Newcastle is just a new tax on new home purchasers, who ultimately will bear the cost of any development quotas or levies introduced. Well, they're absolutely right, and it's basically the issue again and again and again with housing affordability. We saw it with the Queensland state budget handed down last week, where they not only reduced the assistance to first home buyers by reducing the size of the grant, but they made the affordability equation worse by imposing new and extra taxes, bigger taxes on the industry that creates new housing, and thereby making the affordability problem worse by a number of their measures. And they just keep doing it. They keep putting their hand on their hearts and claiming that they care about housing affordability, and they dress up some of the measures that they take, the new taxes they impose, as measures to improve affordability, but in actual fact every time they make it worse. And I'm never quite sure whether it's a case that they don't know, they don't understand the consequences of their actions, or that they do understand and they just don't give a damn because they're cynical bastards, basically. I suspect it's more the latter than the former, but maybe it's a combination of both. But anyway, housing affordability, every time there's a state budget, every time there's a major city council, like the Brisbane City Council last week announced a new policy which is going to refuse to allow greater density and a whole range of existing inner and middle ring suburbs. And that's going to make the cost of the houses in those suburbs, it's going to force up the price of existing houses by making them a relatively rare commodity and refusing to allow new dwellings to be created there, and then forcing development out to the fringes where the same level of infrastructure doesn't exist. So the Brisbane City Council has just made housing affordability worse in Brisbane. The state government has just made housing affordability worse. And now we've got councils in Sydney and Newcastle with this state environment planning policy also making it worse. Will they ever learn? I seriously doubt it. That's it for now. Oh, before I go, don't forget tomorrow night, Tuesday evening, is every Tuesday night, 7:30 in the eastern states, 7 p.m. in the middle states, and 5:30 in Western Australia. It's hotspot of the week, when I'll be talking about one particular location that stands out for me as one that should be worthy of your consideration if you're interested in buying real estate. So that's tomorrow night, tomorrow evening, Tuesday evening, hotspot of the week, don't miss it. And that's it for now. Terry Ryder from hotspotting.com.au signing off. I will talk to you again soon.